Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone who are listening to this. Let us talk something about dangerous goods. Dangerous goods has been a major issue for many years, but in the recent past, it has become a more than major issues. Why? Maybe the ship size has increased and more cargoes are being loaded. Let us go to the basics of dangerous goods. What are dangerous goods? In package form, what goes in the containerized cargo movements. In package form, it is all governed by IMDG Code, International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code, published by IMO. It amplifies actually SOLAS and MARPOL convention. SOLAS is safety of life at sea, and MARPOL is convention for the prevention of marine pollution from ships, in which NX3 talks about the marine pollutants in package form. When we look at that convention, both the convention, chapter 7, part A of SOLAS and NX3 of MARPOL, we learned that masters, that is the captains of the ships, the commander of the ships, they are not supposed to accept any shipment, any cargo, whether containerized or non-containerized packages on breakable ships, on board their vessels where they command, if it is not in accordance with SOLAS and MARPOL. Do the masters of the vessels have enough time for checking all the provisions? Can they open the containers? Can they open the packages? No. So on behalf of the masters, there are something called dangerous goods departments for the shipping lines, where they verify the dangerous goods shipments, whether the shipments are in compliance with IMDG code, and IMDG code means the SOLAS and MARPOL, and of course with the vessel's document of compliance, and as well as the wayport regulations. All these checks are performed or done on the basis of the shipper's declaration, that is dangerous goods declaration, initially through the initial booking, through the softwares, and finally they will verify with the actual dangerous goods declaration. Nobody is opening the containers. What is exactly inside? This is the main reason why shoreside has to be having the knowledge and has to be having the training. IMDG code came into force from 1st January 2004. That is, a 2002 edition of IMDG code became mandatory as dangerous goods transport regulation for ocean transport in package form under SOLAS and MARPOL convention. 2008 edition of IMDG code made it mandatory for the shoreside people to be trained. Why shoreside people has to be trained? Because whatever mistakes or shortcomings the shoreside people may commit or will commit because of their ignorance will or may manifest as an accident or spectacular fire or explosion and loss of lives and loss of property on board ships when these boxes go on board ship. That is why from 1st January 2010 onwards, shoreside people has to be trained. In IMDG code chapter 1.3 for training, mandatory training, the responsibility of providing the training is put on the shoulders of the entities who employ the employers who work on transportation of dangerous goods by sea. If the employers do not have that understanding or appreciation about the risk involved in transport of dangerous goods, then will they be interested or committed to investing time and money for providing training for the employees? That is one question. Let us discuss that question later. If you are offering dangerous goods or any cargo for transport by sea, you as a responsible person, what is your responsibility? Either you are the shipper, consigner, or you are the packer of the container, or you are the lab technician who is doing the test as per the United Nations manuals and test and criteria for verifying whether it is dangerous goods of class this or that, you must be trained, because transport workers, even though they are trained for responding to the emergencies, for fire, spillage and medical first aid, even out at sea, they are not trained to tackle your mistakes. So our mistakes, our shoreside people's mistakes, can make a graveyard out of a ship out at sea. This is why the training has become mandatory for the shoreside staff or shoreside personnel from 1st January 2010. Now we are well into the end of September 2020. How many of us from the shoreside are really trained? Is one training enough? Do we require retraining? IMDG Code do say about retraining whenever the regulations are changed, the refreshed new IMDG Code is published, or the business practices are changed. Are we all involved in the retraining? How effective is our training? And what is our resources for referring to the regulations for compliance? Do all of us have IMDG Code at hand for referring for transportation of dangerous goods, either via shipper, freight forwarder, NVOC, a container packer, or a transporter, whoever we are? If we are involved in any case for the transportation of dangerous goods, the first question is, are we trained? The second is, do we have the access to the regulation, that is IMDG Code? And whichever regulations further IMDG Code refers to through various notes and footnotes, do we have access to that? Have we been enough trained to interpret those regulations? Do we have access to other experts to discuss before accepting to load some cargo or offer to load some cargo on board a ship? This is not a silly matter. This is a very, very serious matter, because our mistakes, our ignorance, or our procrastination must not result in somebody losing their lives, limbs, or being bedridden rest of their lives because exposure to some chemicals, because we did not comply to one or two provisions or one or two lines of the regulatory provisions. IMDG Code is the whole and soul for maintaining safety, ensuring safety, and to ensure free and unrestricted movement of dangerous goods throughout the globe. Let us all get trained. I don't know when I got trained last time. I think the first and the last time I got trained in IMDG Code was in 2003. Since then, I had been self-learning. We can do self-learning as per IMO's chapter 1.3, or we can go to a external trainer, internal trainer, hands-on training with our colleagues. E-learnings is one of the best way to learn, because we all know now, since February, March onwards, the corona pandemic is going on. Classroom trainings are not possible in many of the cities and countries because of the corona pandemic. So e-learning is also one of the very good and efficient way. But all these things, whether it is classroom training, mentor training, colleague hands-on training, e-learning, it is all how much we invest our dedication for others' safety. So I just want to tell the industry or my colleagues or my contemporary, whoever they are listening to me, that we must not make even one single mistake because of our ignorance or because of our negligence. And because of that mistake, nobody aboard ship or in the transport chain must pay with their lives or losing their limbs or losing their properties and all other environmental disasters. Thank you.